Klink Magnet Hunters After Action Review. You just got done watching one of our magnet hunts, and we're going to go over the history and the value of the two most valuable, what we thought was the neatest items that we caught on the magnets. So check this out. Okay, so we got this Russell belt knife. This was probably my favorite out of the bunch. This bad boy right here. If you look right there, it says on there, Russell Belt Knife, Canada. Okay, and if you look down in the middle of the blade here, there's an S inside of a circle. That stands for stainless steel. Okay, so this is stainless steel. That's why you don't see any rust on it from being in the water for so long. It also has jimping along the top of the blade here, so that gives you good thumb control and excellent control of the blade. Make a really good bush knife. Okay, you can see on the other side here it says made in Canada. Awesome knife. This handle is made out of rosewood. Okay, we turn around and dry this out slowly in cool temperatures so that the wood wouldn't split. And once it got dried out, we soaked this handle in teak oil for about an hour and a half to restore the wood and also waterproof it. So that turned out really good. The handle is, like I said, is rosewood. And teak oil is what they recommended for that because this is a real dense wood that has oils in it already. So apparently teak oil works really well with that. Then we put a little bit of paracord on the handle there so this don't end up in the water again. And we put a little skull on there for a symbolic reason, which I'm about to talk about now. Here's the cool thing about this thing, right? There's some history behind this here knife. Okay, this was actually called the number 3. Okay, from Russell Belt Knives. It was also known as the Army knife or the jump knife, as paratroopers called it. It was issued to Canadian Armed Forces for over 30 years. Okay, paratroopers carried this bad boy. It has a saber grind on it. Okay, which is the angle on how they put the edge on the blade. Excellent knife. It also came with a leather sheath that this thing slid into, and it had a flap that went over the handle and fastened over a brass post. And this kept the knife secure during military operations, whether it was jumping out of a plane or any other kind of military exercises that required rigorous activity. So that's what classified this as AKA the jump knife, the Canadian Armed Forces knife. Now, it was also known as a boat knife or a yachtsman knife, and what determined that was depending on the type of sheath that you got. The boatman, I believe, was just a straight open-top sheath, and the yachtsman was an open-top sheath, but it had also a long steel spike that it came with for undoing knots and whatnot, I'm assuming. But yeah, it's either called the Army/jump knife, the boat knife, or the yachtsman, and the sheath was the only thing that determined the difference between the two. So it's just an excellent knife. Great control. Russell Belt Knife. Look up their website. They're still in business today. And if you go into the menu section and click on About, you can read the whole history about this knife. Super cool history about this guy. Came over from another country, was tired of seeing imported knives in Canada in all the stores that he went in. He said there ought to be a Canadian made knife, so he got together with this other fella named Gerber, and together they started designing these knives and testing them with sportsmen and all that stuff, and they came out with the number 1, and then the number 2, and then the number 3, and number 4, and so on. So make sure you check them out. It's pretty cool design, very unique design. Apparently up there, just about all Canadian sportsmen, you can find them having owned one of these at one point in time or another. But it's going to be an awesome knife in my collection just because it's a military knife. Very up on the cool factor there. So there we go. We're going to order the original sheath for this bad boy. We got it in a SOG sheath for now just to protect it. But we're going to get that original Army sheath for that bad boy. Now, oh, forgot to tell you, check this out. This bad boy right here, originating around 1957, vintage knife. I looked up online, I saw it for going as high as $150, vintage. All off the bottom of a lake with Colonel Klink Magnet Hunters Brute Magnet 1,000-pound magnet. Get your Klink on, people. $150, man, and a super cool historical knife. All right, now look what we got here. This is pretty cool. Okay, you guys saw that Gerber multi-tool in the video, and it had a blade snapped off on it and all that. We were just going to oil it and fix it up and put it back in business, but one of the springs was broke on it, so the pliers wouldn't close properly. So I contacted Gerber and see if they would fix this thing for us or whatever, and we sent it in, and lo and behold, look at what they did for us. Gerber, by the way, you guys are awesome. They stood behind their product, and bam, look at here. They sent us a brand new one. So this here bad boy, the Gerber Legend 800, is worth $111. Off the bottom of a lake, people. Get your Klink on. Okay, now check this bad boy out. Let's get into it. Boom. Look at this thing. Spring loaded. Opens itself. You don't have to manually open it. Up here on the business end of things, we have a carbide wire cutters here with replaceable blades in case they go dull. We have the large portion of the pliers for your big work and the needle nose for your fine work. Pretty cool stuff right there. And spring loaded. Okay, check this out. Bam, we go right into this mode here. It's got a little lever right here. Grab that sucker. Out pops the old spring loaded scissors. Look at that. We have a scissors for cutting work. Whatever that may be. Okay, so there's the scissors. Then we'll come on here. We also have a super small flat tip screwdriver. We have a large flat tip screwdriver. Then we have the AKA bottle opener slash flat tip screwdriver. And then back in here, look at here. Boom, a file. It's got a crosshatch file or herringbone file on the one side and a mill file on the other. So you got two different types of files there to file metal objects or for whatever repair situations you got going on in the field. Isn't that cool? Bam. So we'll fold all that glorious toolage back in there. Now on the other end of this, boom, there's the blade that was broke on that sucker. There's what it looks like when it's in working order. Serrated half of it and straight edge for the rest. Boom. So we got a super nice blade on there. Then we also have a Phillips screwdriver on that bad boy. And this is pretty cool. Look at here, tungsten carbide wire cutting blade. Okay, this bad boy will cut through metal. It also has a clip on there, if you see that retention clip. So if this blade goes bad, you open this clip, pop this blade out, slap a new one in, boom, you're right back in business. How cool is that? Fold that sucker back in there and put that knife away before I cut myself. And all this has a locking mechanism right here. Once you extend these blades open, boom, they lock into position, and then just to release them, you draw back on that and get your hand out of the way, and then close the blade. Boom, then she folds up like this. Bam. Slides in this super thick, heavy-duty nylon sheath with the Velcro hatch. With a belt strap on the back, you throw that bad boy on your pack or your belt or wherever, and you're good to go. This thing here retails for $111. Off the bottom of the lake, people. Look at this. This is awesome. Gerber, you guys are awesome. Gerber's an awesome company, and they're USA made, right out of Oregon. So check out their stuff, man. They got a huge line of products. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Their customer service was no questions asked. Stand behind your product. Good old made in the US of A. Get you some of that. All right, folks, stay tuned to our next program of Colonel Klink Magnet Hunters and see what historical or valuable items we might find next. And any of our AV insufficiencies and how to film this thing, well, we're learning as we go, so just bear with us. Stay tuned. Get your Klink on.